Sports Betting Weekly.
Sports Betting Weekly, sponsored by EasySportsData.com. The books use data, shouldn't you too? And this is easy sports data, like the preschoolers use. EasySportsData.com.
I win here and I win there. Now what?
Sports Betting Weekly.
What a queen!
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You should also check out SportsBettingLessons.com. You'll learn some old tricks because sometimes how you bet is more important than who you bet. SportsBettingLessons.com.
Let's just do it. Let's meet this thing head on. And you were in it to win it. Talk about an education.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Wow, winning.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome to Sports Betting Weekly. I am second half Chaz, and it is Super Bowl week, which may not mean a lot to someone who isn't a football guy, but I's a football guy, so it means a lot to me. We are coming off of, three really, really great weeks of our opinions being right. And that's what we say. When you listen to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, you're hearing our opinions. That's all they are. Now, some of them are right, some of them are wrong, and that's why we have live action for when we're wrong. But sometimes we have live action for when we're right, and we've been right a lot. We were right 3 weeks ago. We were right 2 weeks ago. We were right last week. And the last 2 weeks in live action, we have cashed tickets before the game has ended. So in regards to cashing tickets before the game is ended, that's really the reason why you should tune in here. I mean, it's 8 o'clock East Coast time. So I'm thinking that if you got a DVR in your house, anything that you could be watching on regular TV is there. If you've got games on that you're watching, you should really tune in because we might be betting live on the game that you're watching. But anyway, so we're gonna start the show, really pat ourselves on the back a little, and then taking a look at the board, and then we're gonna slide into some props, some NFL props. And as you know, the guys at the casinos spend days, literally days, locked in a room after the NFC Conference championships, getting those props together. And then finally, we're going to pick a winner. We're going to pick a side. And I've already, if you've seen my social media posts, I'm already in pretty deep to the Super Bowl because all those tickets that we were cashing the last 2 weeks, I've been tailing them to the Super Bowl. Adding a 2-teamer here, a 3-teamer there, a 2-teamer there. And the next thing I know, I had 14 tickets. And I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact I've never have 14 tickets on the Super Bowl, but this year I've got 14 tickets, and I'm looking forward to it. So, John from GMF Sports Consultants, Super Bowl LV, baby.
That's right. It should be a great game. I mean, NFL probably couldn't have not scripted a better matchup. Brady, Mahomes. Is Brady going to continue his legacy? Are we passing the torch here to Patrick Mahomes? We'll see. I'm excited. It's going to be a very good game. Both teams are playing good, so I'm excited to see the matchup this week for sure.
So we've got a pandemic. We're still dealing with. Where are you watching the game?
I'm going to be watching it at home. I might go to a family member's house, but I'm either going to be at home or going to a family member's house, and that's about it. Really playing it low key this year for the game. So just kind of sit back, relax, eat some food, have a couple of beers, and hopefully watch an entertaining game.
Blackhawk West, glad you could make it.
It's been a struggle. Wife out of town. She took the normal computer I use. So, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, trust me, I've got a list of about 14 or 15 things in my life that I consistently blame on Vicky. So I appreciate that.
Well, she took the laptop, and I'm getting to that place where that's everything. So she took the computer with her, and I'm now playing with Siri.
Yeah, no, I've got an office in my house set up, and I've got technically 4 monitors, 4 screens I can watch at any point in time, and when I have to go on the road, like John, when I was in Vegas and doing the show from the suite there, with one monitor, I'm just crippled. I really am. Yeah. I'm just not able to handle it. I love having 2 or 3 monitors open.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you got to see Blackhawk West, the article I put out with my 14 plays, because it started as a late night joke. It was a Sunday night. It was after, if there was a field goal in the Buffalo game that meant nothing to anybody in the world but people that had the Buffalo team total in live action and the over in live action. Well, I was on that list of people, so it made another ticket for me. And so I had some money, and I'm messing around. But Sunday night, when the last game of the day is going in the second half, there's not much on the board. And if you've ever been in a sports book cashing your tickets late on Sunday night, it's an eerie place, because earlier that day, there's no social distancing going on at all. And that night, you can't even find a waitress, or sometimes you can't find the bartender, because the bartender's doing double duty. He's taking out the trash too. He doesn't even have a bar back. But I would not have had those Saturday parlays with soccer or with hockey. I got 2 hockey parlays going. There's no way I would have had them if it isn't Blackhawk West involved. So I appreciate that very much. It doesn't mean a damn thing if the end result doesn't get the second half of the parlay. But the bottom line is I'm in a pretty good spot. I got more tickets on the Super Bowl than I've ever had in my life. I've got them all paid for in advance, and I have everything but Tampa Bay in the under. If Tampa Bay in the under comes out, I'm not going to do too well. But the way we bet, it can end up Tampa Bay in the under, and I can still cash a few tickets because, as you know, we don't just play the games. But what we're going to do to start is we're going to hop right into our live action, and we really have done a great job. But I thought about it this week. I put way too much effort into live action thoughts. But as you know, Wes, you can win a lot of money. Now, you've been winning a lot of money early in hockey, just smashing period one action, which probably doesn't do us any good tonight. But the way we like to start is we start with John and say, John, you got any action already that's live on the board?
Yeah, well, I was on Dallas and the Columbus game for over 1.5 for the first period. And I like Dallas for over 2.5 for the game. Well, because Columbus went up, I'm staying with Dallas. I went back in for 1.5, but the play right now is for Dallas over 2.5 for the game. They're averaging 4 goals a game. The other one, we have 2 great opportunities right here in hockey. Montreal is down by a goal. This is one of the top scoring teams in the league. At this point, you could take a Montreal money line for a really good pay. And I love Dallas over 2.5 goals for the game. And Chaz, as we learned the other night, they fire off 3 goals in the first period sometimes.
Oh, you know what? That was crazy. They scored 4 minutes in, and then a minute later, and then they had a power play, but then they give up a penalty, so it was 4-4. And they scored, and then they scored again. And I literally shut the TV off and went back to work because I only had the first period action, and even though there was 9 minutes left, I was fairly comfortable 3-0 lead was going to make it. And the over already was a winner because it was 1.5,
Yeah,
All right, so while I slide into my joinjazzsports.com live action board, let's talk to John and see about John. Any action John has for tonight already?
Yeah, well, I am on the college basketball, the Iowa game. They're currently up 6 right now. The initial spread was anywhere between 5 and 5.5. If anywhere during the point in the game, in these next couple minutes, we're already about 5 minutes into the second. If you can snag it under 5, I would feel comfortable doing that. There's no sense in playing over what the game is right now. But I was honestly actually looking at hockey as well, just to kind of reiterate what Wes was talking about. The Montreal Canadiens, they were big, heavy favorites today. I think they were like minus 300. Where now, if you get them because they're down by a goal, if you're going to play the money line, I think they're probably about minus 1, maybe 120, 130. So you're getting a big advantage there also. And then another thing, I haven't checked it, but I think it was over 1.5 goals for Montreal in the second period. You were getting plus money on that as well. So obviously, if we need Montreal to kind of get something going, I think it would be here in the second. So I'm going to stick with hockey, go Montreal money line, and then over 1.5 goals second period.
All right, so I'm in the Montreal game, and first of all, I'm looking at the second period, and what you're saying is you like over 1.5.
Over 1.5 Montreal goals. Yeah, the last time I checked, they were getting +1.
I'm talking about the period. Is it the period team total?
The period. Yeah, just the period. Yeah, just the second period.
Not a team total. The period.
No. no.
But what about over 2.5 at plus 192?
That's good too. That's good too. I think Montreal is going to start scoring here. Ottawa definitely has some issues, goaltending and everything like that. And just like kind of what Wes said, Montreal's pretty solid team. So, they're down a goal. And obviously here in the second and the third period, they got to get it going.
All right. So what were you saying about Montreal again, Wes?
Well, I was saying pretty much what John is saying. We got a great opportunity with a team like this. I was on them. I like them beginning of the game laying the -1.5. Montreal can score 4 goals in seconds. Mm-hmm. So, but now we got an opportunity. If you still like the -1.5 for the game, I believe it's a plus 120 pay on that. I wouldn't
31.
go there. Yeah. I wouldn't go there because they are down. I would just simply go either money line. I would take the money line, and there's probably some value in taking plus 1.5.
Yep.
This is not a team that is going to lose games. I mean, they can't win them all, but they're not going to lose by 2.
Well, here's what we got. We got minus 153 is what I'm seeing for including overtime, and for their team total over is 3.5 right now, and it's still minus 150. That seems awful high for a team.
I think that I think what you're seeing there, because what I've seen over the course of the last couple of days, odds makers are adjusting to certain teams while they're a little behind on other teams. They adjusted to Boston and Edmonton and Tampa already. I'm not going to name the teams they haven't adjusted to because I don't know who's listening to this, and I still want to cash.
There you go. There you go.
I'll send it to you in a private message. The teams that they're not quite scared of yet.
All right. So yeah. So when I see it like that, when I see it like that, so now that over 1.5 is minus 132. That's where I'm going. So I'm going to take the over 1.5 points for Perry 2, and I'm going to take it at minus 132. So I am doing that. Now let's talk about the basketball game. The basketball. You know what I like about the period 2 guys? The periods are the ones where we can say we cashed before the show ended. You're not going to get that with a game too many times. The team total in the game, we got to hang around. Don't get me wrong. It could be a winner before the show ends, but it's not going to be in my account. That's pretty good. When you guys give me a play and the money's in my account before 9 o'clock rolls around. All right. So you were saying Iowa. That's the Ohio State game, right?
Yeah. Iowa, Ohio State, 2 very good teams. Ohio State's kind of missing a few pieces. They have a very young point. I think the kid's like 17 years old. He graduated high school in December. He hasn't been with the team very long. So he's actually playing really good, but I'd give obviously the experience to Iowa and Luka Garza. They're a fast-paced team. They love to run up and down the floor. So it's going to be hard for Ohio State, I think, to keep up with them offensively. If you can snag,
they scored 92 points in the first half.
Yeah. It was very high. Obviously, if you were a total guy, you would have got on the totals altogether. But yeah, I mean, Iowa is averaging almost 90 points. I think 89.2, somewhere around there, just in game total. So it's going to be a lot for Ohio State to continue to match that, especially kind of being a little shorthanded with the injuries. And Iowa's actually playing the zone defense right now, which is forcing Ohio State to kind of shoot more outside shots than they're accustomed to. And like I said, just with the kind of the young being shorthanded, and they're also in a little bit of foul trouble. Ohio State's not very deep right now on the other flip side, where Iowa is very deep. So if you can get them around that 5 or 6 range.
I think that ship has sailed, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They're up by 11. But let me ask you this. For the first half, it looks like they won by 3. They probably didn't cover the first half, did they?
The first half total, it would have been close. I think they probably would have put the first half at probably minus 3.5, I think.
Yeah.
So if you were on that end, you lost out on the first half, very back and forth. But as you can see now, Iowa's starting to pull away.
Yeah, they're on another 90-point half. And that's what I think I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to go. I'm going to take the Ohio State team total under 81.5. And here's why I'm doing that. And the reason I'm doing that, it's minus 122. The reason I'm doing that is because if the lead stays up into double digits, then you're not going to get the constant fouling at the end. At some point, you're going to get the last 3 or 4 possessions where all I was going to do is run out their 30 seconds and throw a shot up or try to pass it in or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do. So that was my way of looking at a handicapping, where you did the handicapping right. Obviously, the team's up by a large margin.
Yeah. We just missed it by a couple minutes. We missed that transaction from the second half. We missed it, so we were a little bit late on that. But we were kind of on the right side of it. So,
but you know what? How many times was you walk into the sports book, you like a horse, and post time, and you hear the bell, and that's it. You're done.
That's pretty much it.
Yep. All right. So I'm good with that. You know what? I got 14 tickets on the Super Bowl. I'm good with a couple live action plays, and I know you guys probably have some other things doing. I know that Wes, you've already cashed a couple that were early in that game, that hockey game, right?
Yeah, it's been a wild couple days in hockey. I mean, I was texting you guys with some of the plays last night, Chaz. We had one that paid in 4 minutes. 4 minutes after the text message, it paid. I mean, these first periods have been great.
Paulo has done that with us in soccer. Instead, the soccer hockey variables that are similar are very, very, very many. There's a lot of them. I'm talking about. I notice it, especially when you start looking at the beginning and the end of the game, because some teams do. They come out and they just attack it, and other teams, when their opponent gets a little wary, they're very dangerous. So the first period and the third period, I see where there's definitely opportunities.
And we're getting a lot of really poor goalie play right now, all across the league, even the stars. I'm really surprised at how bad the goalies are playing. Everybody's scoring goals. There's certain games where it looks like it looks like a football score. It looks like an Army-Navy 7-3 game.
I did see. I was on one of them. I was on them, and I had the over, so it was kind of weird. But then that's the other thing about live action. Like I mentioned, we had the opportunity to go with an over 2.5 and over 3.5 and over 1.5, and of course the odds adjust accordingly. And don't get me wrong, we're very blessed. We cash a lot of tickets, but there's nothing wrong with having a little human greed in you. You know, when you took 4.5 and 5.5, and you could have had 7.5 and 8.5 because the final score is 7-3 in a hockey game. But what are you going to do? You can only do what you do. All right, so when we come back from break, we're going to slide right into props. I'm not sure how many props these guys look at. There's 1,000, and really, if you want to have them all looked at by Sunday, you pretty much had to start already. But we're going to cover those props for Super Bowl LV. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly. We're on Belly Up Sports Podcast Network and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. I am second half Chaz. We are joined by John from GMF Sports Consultant somewhere out there. Black Hawk Wes is with us too. We are covering Super Bowl LV, Super Bowl 55. Now, I have had some really, really fond Super Bowl memories, but none is better than when the Chicago Bears played the Indianapolis Colts, and the opening kickoff was taken by a great, great defensive back who was returning kicks that day. It was the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl. I had him 40-1. He cashed within 13 seconds, and I don't remember anything more about that Super Bowl. But it was a four-figure day for me, and I don't remember what I was drinking, but I do remember I don't remember much. That was definitely my highlight. My second best ever was Super Bowl 53. It was the Rams 13-3 loss to the Patriots. And the reason it was my favorite one is because I had the New England Patriot guy that scored, I forget even who it was, for the first touchdown, for the last touchdown, and, of course, for the first New England touchdown. Well, guess what, guys? When there's only one touchdown in a football game, all three of those bets cashed on the same play. Those are my two prop highlights. John, you got any that you remember they just make you smile even now thinking about them?
Nothing too crazy as a 40-1, but there was the Patriots Super Bowl a couple of years back where we actually had Julian Edelman as like a 15-1 to win MVP, and he won that, and there was actually the couple of guys that I gave it to, depending on what book, they actually got odds that were 30-1 and higher. So those guys really, really capitalized on that. And that was pretty much it. When there was also one where the Patriots were obviously down to the Atlanta Falcons. I was on the Patriots side of that, so you could imagine how excited I was that whole second half. The first half I was, cursing everybody and had my head down, and then that second half was probably one of the greatest second halves I think I've ever watched. If you were on that side of it, so that would have to be probably one of my top ones.
I cashed a prop ticket on that game. It was what would the longest touchdown be? And it was like 57 yards. You know that prop, and I got it on the pick six. Brady, it was over 60 yards. They still won the game. Amazing.
Yep.
What about you, Blackhawk Wes?
Well, I will tell you, one of your favorite moments is also one of my favorite moments because I was wearing a Devin Hester jersey that day. And it was one of those things where everybody was saying he's going to do it. Everybody's saying he could do it. And the dude came out and did it. And God, what a feeling it was. I know exactly where I was, and I'll never forget that feeling. I mean, that was I had nothing on it other than a piece of my heart on the Bears. And then Peyton Manning had to shatter those dreams.
Oh, yeah. It obviously went down from there. But I'll tell you, one of the things I remember before the alcohol kicked in heavily was I thought he was slowing down, but what he was looking at the monitor and seeing nobody was behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you guys, when $1,000 on the line over 13 seconds, it seems like about a minute and a half. It doesn't go very quickly. And it looked like he was running slow, and then in the highlights they showed that he was looking up at the monitor, and there was no one within like 20 yards of him. But that was definitely that was a great thing, because with the New England one, I didn't know I won 3 tickets on the same play because the game hadn't ended yet. But with the Indianapolis Colts game, that was special. All right, so let's look at Sunday's props. As I've mentioned to you guys in the past, I really only look at the first player to score. That's really kind of what I do, and it's mostly because with ChampionshipFootballs.com, we're creating the coolest present any Super Bowl winner's team will get as a present that year, guaranteed, because there's special balls. So we have a lot of work to do. So I don't put a lot of effort into it. Of course, this year that changed with my 14-ticket layaway program. So, John, let's talk to you first. What about you and props? Do you use them a lot? Do you give them out to your guys? Do you play them?
Yeah. I do quite a bit of props. For me, I honestly think prop bets is probably the better way to go. It's something where you could bet a couple dollars and enjoy the game. Especially with this Super Bowl is going to be extremely tough. It can go either way. If you're a Brady fan, obviously you're on the Buck side of it. But I truly enjoy the props because it's almost like every play. If you play a couple of them, you always have action. So it keeps you entertained. You can bet a couple dollars and not have to worry about it and just have some fun. And if you happen to hit a couple of them, then, you're excited to hit a couple of them. So, yeah, I'll definitely be betting them and I definitely give them out. But, that's what I tell my players. Prop bets shouldn't go crazy. Whatever you want to put on them, 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks, and just kind of spread it out and just really enjoy the game.
Well, one of the things I talked about last week is if you tell me your prop bets, I know who you like. So give me a top 2, 3. Give me what you got. What do you think?
Okay. So there's a couple of them. So let's see. So I'm going to be a Tyreek Hill, longest reception over 29.5. We all seen what he did to the Bucs when they met, previously a couple of weeks ago. That's at -110. So that's pretty decent. Patrick Mahomes over, the longest throw, 41.5 yards. I'm going to be on that. So you can kind of tell where I'm kind of going with this already, right?
Well, I love that prop because that's a prop that could both hit on the same play.
Yeah, you can get that in the first play. Who knows what's going to happen. There was also one that I seen. There was a pass interference over 19.5 yards. I hate using the word lock, but I almost feel like that's a lock. I think with the way these two teams pass the ball and how they both throw it down the field, I would almost do that. There was another one, failed point after attempt. You're actually getting plus money on this, plus 180. So if they miss a kick, if they don't get the extra point at the end, you're getting plus money on that. And then I'm going to move over to a couple MVPs that I got that I think have some value. I think Kelsey at 8-1 still has some value. And then I'm going to throw in a couple long shots. McCole Hardman, he's getting 60-1. I'm going to throw a couple bucks on that. And then on the other side, just in case, I like Evans at 35-1 too. I think you're getting some good value on that. Obviously, when you start talking, 60-1 and a 35-1, you can lay a couple bucks down and hope you get lucky on that.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. You know what? 40-1 plays don't have to have a high winning percentage to have a return on your investment. Yep. But you made a point about that. You said you're going to put a couple bucks on it. Are you betting mobile, or are you going into the casino?
I'm gonna bet mobile. I'm not gonna go into the casino. I was already there at the casino earlier today, and the line was already out of control. If you ever been to a sports book, I would even say starting on Friday, the line is going to be out of control, especially now, social distancing rules. So the wait's even longer. I'm doing everything on my phone. Way easier just to do it on my phone. That way I don't have to deal with the lines and the hassle of dealing with all that. So mobile's the way to go.
Yeah, well, the reason I asked, like, if I went into the sports book, what is there a minimum? Can I bet $2 on whatever
I believe. Let me see what it is. I have this. This is one. I got the book earlier. This is kind of a shortened version, but this is still probably about a good I don't know, eight pages altogether. Some places do have minimums. Some are like 2, some are 5. So you can put. I think most of them are $2. And then maybe some of them are 5. So, you can go in there with a couple dollars and play a couple 40-to-1 shots and see if you get lucky with, $10-20.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, if you take 7 bets and you all try to find 7 plays that are equal odds, you know what? And they're all close to 7-to-1. You throw $5 on all of them. If one of them comes in, you're going to get all your money back,
Yeah, exactly. You got to watch the game and have some excitement. So, and that's really all you're looking for in this kind of game. This is the Super Bowl. This is where you want to have fun and enjoy the game and enjoy the two teams,
All right, before we head over to Blackhawk West and talk about some of his props, let's do an update here. John, do you have an update on the basketball game?
Yeah, actually, we Ohio State started scoring, so they're actually up. By one. It's 71-70 right now. So they erased an 11-point deficit in a matter of 6-7 minutes there. So that was a big turnaround for Ohio State.
Yeah. So that on that bet, I don't have a shot of winning that bet actually because I got under 1. They've got already 30. So yeah, that one's not looking good. How about the Blackhawk West? How about that hockey?
Well, Dallas, we're still alive at the over 2.5 for the game. Columbus is up 3-1. And same thing on the Montreal. Montreal's down 3-1. So we're getting dogged right now. But
but on that
Montreal and Dallas, they can both pop off goals real quick. So
and the bet that I have is that second period over. So I got one of those goals.
So you need one goal.
And it don't matter who gives it to me.
It doesn't matter. Everybody, participation trophies, as you like.
That's what it comes down.
Just got to hit the back of the net. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. All right. So Blackhawk West props. What I asked John was, do you talk about them when you give out your information on the your network that you're on? Do you play them? Talk to me.
I play the props and I give the plays out to my members too, but I approach it as a business. So no Gatorade color, no minutes to sing the anthem, no who does the MVP thank. I don't. I don't.
I didn't know bet God. Who doesn't bet God?
Well, I backed off of the game action on this because I would really be upset with myself if the Chiefs won and didn't cover and I couldn't celebrate because I had an investment. So, but the prop bets that I'm advising is the anytime scorer. And so I took Kelsey and Hill and threw them out the window because it's minus 165. I always talk even betting all across the board, and you're trying to play for the record. So I got 9 plays on different players, and if 3 of them hit, that ends up paying as if we went 6-3 on the whole deal. I like Antonio Brown. I like Miller for Tampa. I like Gronkowski for Tampa. We're talking plus 250, plus 275, plus 300. Patrick Mahomes loves running the ball inside the 30s. I hit him for a plus 550 last year when he ran for a touchdown. So I really like those plays. And then the other play I really like is I found some value within what I think is a good play. If you take, will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown scored? It pays plus 200 if you bet on anybody. But if you take both teams and bet them, Kansas City does it and Tampa does it, you bet them individually, one pays plus 375, the other plays plus 450. So I bet them individually. Anybody does it, it's a profit on both. And if they both do it, that's even better. But the other one, I like Sherman plus 1,800, and that's the fullback. And in the first meeting of these games, the Chiefs really struggled to run the ball. They controlled the time of possession. They were under 80 yards rushing the ball. So when they hit the goal line, they might be looking for some oddball. They might hand it to Sherman and let him just muscle in. They've handed the ball to Kelsey in the red zone. So plus 1,800, that pays for the whole lot.
The Chiefs' red zone playbook looks like something from the Harlem Globetrotters playbook. It really does. They do things that
it really does.
That was pretty good, actually. I just made that one off the top of my head. But no, really, they do. That's what they do. They're amazing, you know?
Yeah, it's their offense. The way, first of all, just the whole schematic and the way they constantly move people throughout the course of a game, where Tyreek Hill will be lined up in a different slot, Kelsey will be lined up in a different slot. The way they can kind of move these running backs, even though they don't really use them, but the way they position them and moving them out, Hardman and these other players in there, now Sammy Watkins will kind of be back into the mix this week as well. So yeah, it's just watching them is really, really fun to watch, how they just really move around, and how, first of all, how Patrick Mahomes is able to just work the whole schematic of that offense. So it's going to be tough for Tampa Bay, I think, defensively.
No doubt about it.
And what's really interesting, the Chiefs controlled the time of possession the last time they played and only rushed for under 80 yards. So they're doing it in wild ways and short passing. And it's just really bizarre, this Tampa defense and the way that they get owned on time of possession and the way that the Chiefs are doing it.
No, they normally will do cross sport props, and it's usually a hockey game that night or an NBA game that day or something like that. But they've got one here. What will be higher, the number of Travis Kelce receptions or the number on the back of the winning horse for the Kentucky Derby? So you're betting that February 7th, that's all of February, all of March, all of April. You got to wait to the first Saturday in May to cash that ticket. There ain't no way I'm putting money on that ticket.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait in cash. That's months.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Man. I've got a future on the Kentucky Derby winner.
Yeah. If you don't bet it on the mobile app, chances are you might lose that ticket if you have a paper ticket.
Yeah, and if you think about the odds, if 20 horses go, it's already 20-1 just to do that. Just picking that number out of the hat is the 20-1 odds.
Yep.
But yeah, so they've got page after page after page. I'm just going to spin down and we're going to talk about a couple of them. All right. The even odd number that the half or the game will add even at. I never understood why someone would bet that, but I guess, that's no different than betting the coin toss or something. But, John, have you ever bet, will the first half or game end odd or even?
Absolutely not. That's strictly just going in blind. Like, that's from kind of what Wes said. I look at sports as investing. That's gambling. That's gambling degenerate 101 status right there. Hey, look, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to bet your money.
Squares.
Yeah. So,
all right, so let's look at Tampa Bay now. One of the things we know about Tampa Bay is they've got a good offense. They got a great quarterback. They have a stat here. How many touchdowns will Tampa Bay score? And it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 or more. If you were going to bet that right now, Wes, what number would you give me? How many touchdowns will Tampa Bay score?
Well, the over-under for the game is 56 and a hook. So you would think that that's 4 touchdowns on each side. So I don't think Tampa's scoring 6 touchdowns. I think the Chiefs defense is playing way too good a ball in these last 5 games for that to happen. But I don't think either team's going to score 6 touchdowns. But I don't think the over-under number is too far off of what the reality is going to play out to be. So 3.5, 4 touchdowns per team, probably about where I'd go.
Yeah, 4 would get you plus 300. 5 would get you plus 600. So and then, as you said, 6 or more is plus 750. That's only for Tampa Bay. All right, before we go to break, we're going to hop back on and we're going to get some updates. And let's see here. We're going to look at the NFL first, right? And we have what do we had? A couple things you were looking at. Wes, what was
Dallas
that?
just scored. Dallas just scored, so we're 3-2 there now. If you were on the over for the second period of 1.5, you nailed it. Yep. And we're still on track. We're still on track for Dallas 2.5, and we hit the Dallas over 1.5 on the dip.
There we go. And then Ottawa, Montreal. That was the other game.
Yeah, Montreal just blew up. Montreal just blew a really nice power play opportunity, and it's still 3-1 with under 2 to go in the second.
All right, so we're going to need a late goal there. And then we're going to slide over to college basketball, where that game is going down to the wire, huh? Iowa did not lay it. Ohio State did not lay down. They were down by 11 when we looked last, and they've come all the way back. That game is going to the wire right now. So,
yeah, that's a close game. Yeah, Iowa State, Ohio State, like you said, they were down by 11. It looked like Iowa was going to start running away with it, and then Ohio started clamping down. They started making some really, really good shots, outside shots. So,
all right, when we come back from break, we are going to talk to the guys who we've heard a little bit about who they like in their props. And, yeah, you know what? You can kind of tell who they like for the game from that. I'm Second Half Chaz. You listen to Sports Betting Weekly on the Belly Up Podcast Network and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
At ChampionshipFootballs.com, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Grams is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't nice effort, you had a pretty good season, footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
Hey, this is an important message. I'm Second Half Chaz from Sports Betting Weekly. Sports betting is supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you're hurting yourself by gambling with money you don't have, check out our website for the Gamblers Anonymous phone number.
When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ara Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd Light, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. I am Second Half Chaz. We have, as always, John from GMF Sports Consultants and Black Hawk West from 151 Sports Investing. We have covered some live action. Now, this week, it didn't work out too well for me personally. I know that Wes cashed a couple tickets. Now, it's called Sports Betting Weekly. It's not called Sports Betting Daily. And that is because there are some Mondays that if football's not on Monday night, there's some Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays that I might not even really make a play. I'll look for some opportunities. But again, you just can't hop on a game if you haven't watched it. And that Ohio State game tonight was one of them. They scored so many points in the first quarter. I should have never bet the under. I should have bet the over, would have already cashed. But you know what? That's kind of how we learn about this live action. And we win more bets than we lose. So I don't ever have a problem tearing up a ticket. Montreal did not score, so they went to break 3-1. So that was a loser as well. So this is, for me, it was an 0 for 2 night. However, The last 2 weeks in a row, I hung up from you guys. Once I won, once I lost, and the other time they were both having Gonzaga on TV tonight. So I don't know if Gonzaga is Gonzaga even playing tonight. I probably should look. They are.
They are. Yeah.
Right as soon as we hang up, Gonzaga starts. So I'll pay attention. They did win for me. One of those plays I have in the on my parlays is with Gonzaga. As a matter of fact, I wrote them down. I had Gonzaga a couple times. So I had Gonzaga back on January 28th. It's a Super Bowl bet now. And then I also had Gonzaga another time. I had Gonzaga on January 30th. And that's now a Super Bowl bet. I had Virginia 3 times. 3 different times I bet Virginia, and I keyed them to. Now, remember, a lot of people don't remember this. Virginia is technically the reigning national champion because they didn't have a national championship last year.
That they didn't have it, so they're still going. And Virginia still looks really good.
And they're never gonna. Normally, they're not going to score 95 points. They're going to beat somebody by holding them to 43 points. That's what they do. But so I had, as I mentioned, I had a couple of hockeys. I had a college basketball, hockey, college basketball, college basketball. So yeah, I did not put any action on the NBA in live action. But we talked about that last week with that Houston game. That Houston game was crazy. One team's up by 15, the other team's up by 16. It's just amazing. It's just NBA, they score so many points so quickly. But so we heard a little bit of your props. We know that John had mentioned that if there's a big pass from Mahomes to Hill and it goes over 30 yards, he's going to cash 2 tickets.
Yeah, we'll cash 2 tickets. Hopefully that gets done early and quick, and then that way we'll kind of free rolling for the rest of the night. So that would be awesome.
I'm going to ask you first, John. I'm going to ask you to tell me the final score and tell me how you see it getting there, because Wes has been part of the show. You've been part of the show. For me, it's all about your why. I don't care what you say to me. If your why is good, I'm okay with that. So tell me, John, what do you think the final score is and how it gets there?
I think it's going to be close. I have KC winning. I would probably put them in that 32 range, and I have Tampa Bay probably from that 24 to 27 range. The reason why I have KC winning is the defense. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to do enough to hold them defensively. We've seen, obviously, when they played a couple weeks ago, and we've seen what happened versus the Browns, and then obviously versus Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes is very good at reading these zone defenses. And I think if in order for Tampa Bay to have a chance, they're going to have to bring pressure, or they're going to have to at least disguise how they bring pressure. If they go into this zone defense, and this is what Buffalo drove me crazy when they played 2 weeks ago, was that before Patrick Mahomes ever got up to the line of scrimmage, Buffalo was already dropped in that 2-man high safety. Patrick Mahomes, when he sees that, he's going to pick you apart. And so this is where I think they have so many crossing routes and everything like that. They have to at least bring the illusion. Tampa Bay is going to have to get very schematic-wise, tricks and kind of do all this stuff. And I don't see that happening. With Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, those guys are just too good. I have to go with KC. I also don't want to buy my brother-in-law another steak dinner again. So I'm gonna go with KC to win the game. I think it's gonna be close. Brady's gonna keep it close, but I have KC pulling away here.
Yeah, it may be cheaper for you if you lose again to just order him one of those steaks, Omaha steaks.
The Omaha steaks out. I gotta get it delivered to them, Hopefully they got a deal going.
You get frequent flyer points at this point.
All right, Blackhawk West, give us what you think the final score of Super Bowl 55 is going to be and how it gets there.
Yeah, so I think that it's going to be KC 35, Tampa 31. And, I did a lot of breakdown in this game going back to what it looked like when these two teams played each other. But I tried to build a case for Tampa. And since the Chiefs and Tampa played, I think this game, there's a lot of lessons that these teams learn from each other and other experiences that they're going to bring in. The Chiefs learned from last year that they cannot give up these big leads and expect to come back. That's too much to ask of a quarterback to do, even though he can do it. But since Tampa played the Chiefs, they've been averaging 35 points a game. And that's what it's going to take if they want to beat the Chiefs. Tampa also, in their 11 wins, 3 of them went over 40 points and 8 of them went over 30 points. But I think what's going to happen is the Chiefs know that they can't take their foot off the gas. Last game was the first game they looked like they were actually putting effort into playing the football or just playing the game. So I think that the way that Tampa is going to end up getting beat is they're going to be in a situation where they're down, probably short, but KC is going to sack Brady because Brady is not very mobile. And KC just beat 2 mobile quarterbacks. Brady's going to take a couple sacks. That Tampa O-line is not very good. And I think Mahomes is going to use his legs. He loves running inside the 30s. And they're going to get up early just the way that they did the last time. And they're going to know this time they cannot let Tampa back in the game. And I think this could be some old school Florida Gator type stuff if they get a lead and they feel like they just want to keep pouring it on. And they very well could. But I think it's 35-31. Brady's going to take some sacks late, and they won't be able to catch up because of that. If you are on the Tampa side of things, I would play the money line. Because if Tampa covers, they're winning the game.
They're winning the game. Yep.
If Tampa covers it, you're better off playing the money line. It's going to be because they did something to shut down and make the Chiefs look inept at a certain piece of the game. So if you're of the Tampa belief, don't take the 3 points. Take the money line and just go.
Well, one of the things I was going to say is, if you're the Chiefs, you got 2 things that you know that they almost came back on you last time you played. And a couple years ago, the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history was by the guy you're playing. You can't take your foot off the gas if you're in this game and you have a lead, and that's on either team. The one thing that I use, and it's done very well for me so far, is that Easy Sports Data program where we use colors and letters and numbers to simplify handicapping. I really should try to come up with something for the horse racing because reading that horse racing form is so difficult. But the one thing that jumped out at me, and I talked about it when they played Green Bay, and I talked about it the week before, and now it's up to 10. And that means in the last 10 straight games, nobody has scored 28 points on Tampa. Not a team, not an organization, not a quarterback, nobody. They've given up 27 a handful of times, but nobody scored 28. So that was one of the reasons why I went with the money line on when I first started doing my plays for my what I call my Super Bowl layover program. Now I haven't done layover. My mother, God rest, she's back in Connecticut. I don't think she watches, but she's 84 now, 85. She used to do layover. Layover was a big deal. And I'm old, but when I was a kid, layover was a big deal. They'd pick out the presents, and then they'd come up with the money by Christmas. What I did is I picked out my presents, and I came up with the money before the Super Bowl. So it's going to be for me, if what Wes said is the final score, it's going to be for me Christmas in February because I'm cashing 14 tickets. Now, the only difference, and John's doing most of his betting mobile as well, when you bet online, it's not as much fun. There's something great about sitting there at the window, and each time he puts a ticket in, the number gets higher, and it gets higher, and it gets higher, and then they say those questions that every sports bettor wants to hear. You know what that question is, John, right? How do you want that?
How do you? That's the best one. Yeah. All large.
That's it, baby. You got some winnings when they ask you how do you want that?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So here's some of that Easy Sports Data numbers that I was talking about. I mentioned that the 27, nobody scored 28 on them in 10 games. 10 games is a long time. 10 games is a long time. What do I know though? I also know that you take out the Cleveland game, which was a game that, of course, the quarterback was injured and didn't play 25% of the game. And in every single other playoff game, they've scored 31 points, Kansas City. So here's the thing. Now, for some teams, that's great. But you're talking about quarterbacks that are on TV now as announcers. With the Chiefs, those games are with these same players. Because they have now, in the last 3 years, think of how many playoff games they have in the last 3 years. It's just amazing. Actually, I can tell you exactly because I got my Easy Sports Data. So they had already 2 this year. They had 3 the year before and 2 the year before. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7 games. This is their 8th playoff game in the last 3 years. You can't really replicate that experience, in my opinion. Tampa Bay, though. Tampa Bay has scored 18-plus in 4 of their last 5. They scored 30-plus in 6 of their last 6 when you're talking overall. On the road, though, you know what? And I know Blackhawk West knows this because he's a Kansas City fan. Kansas City plays just as good on the road as any team in the league. I mean, Wes, what would you say about their road victories?
They travel well, they've traveled especially well this year. I don't get it. They don't have a fantastic run game. Their defense is just tightening up, but typically a run game is what travels. And Arrowhead is such a fantastic, loud, crazy place for an opponent to have to come into that they're playing so well on the road. It's great.
All right, so let's do this to kill the last few minutes. We're gonna ask for your two. First, I'm gonna ask you for your 2-team parlay. All right, you got a 2-team parlay to make, John, for the Super Bowl. What's it gonna be?
KC and the over. Got to take the over. Nobody bets on theirs. Nobody wants to see a boring game.
No, I do know that the under ticked down from when I first had it.
It did. It was 57.5, 57, and now all the way it went down to 56. And then also probably, that 3.5 number for you guys have been watching it, ever since it opened, it's 3.5. Now it's down to 3. 3 at the -120, maybe -115, depending on where you're at. But, this is an opportunity where maybe if guys aren't used to it, look at all the different books, and kind of see what the lines and the odds are and shop around. It doesn't matter which side you're on, but if you kind of compare books, you maybe can get a half a point or maybe save yourself some juice, if you shop around for the book.
The half a point is normally something I don't even care about, but if you lose by it, trust me, you'll remember that.
When you lose by it, that hurts.
Yeah, exactly. Blackhawk West, you're same, right? You're in Kansas City in the over.
Yeah, I'm going KC in the over. I'm hoping that Tampa scores a field goal first, then I get some live action first half Chiefs.
There you go. All right, so second question, I'm going to start with Blackhawk West. You got $100 you can put on any prop you want. It's free money. It's a free play ticket. You walked in the casino, they gave you a free play certificate. I got one of those at Caliente once. It was so cool. You can put it on anything you want. One bet, though, tomorrow or Sunday. What are you going to do?
Chiefs over 0.5 for a field goal in the first half.
So they just got to kick one.
They just got to kick one in the first half. It's -135, but it's a W.
It's that low, huh? Wow. That low. Okay, John, same question. You got $100. Free play ticket. You walked in the casino. They draw your name out of a hat. I don't care how you got it, but you got it. You could only use it for one play. It's got to be a prop. What are you doing?
Since it's a free play, I would go to Patrick Mahomes' first throw will be a completion. If you look at Patrick Mahomes, ever since he was a starter, his first throw, he's completed like 70% of his passes. Now, I believe you're probably getting -200, which the odds isn't that good. But if you're going to tell me you have 70% chance of hitting that, I'll take that all day with a free play. Why not?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you put a $100 free play ticket down, and you go back to cash, and he gives you $50. You didn't lose $50.
Exactly. Yep. And like I said, with him hitting that 70%, that's pretty solid. So I would look at that if somebody's got some free play money they want to throw around.
If someone gave me that same $100 tab, I'd walk up to the window and I would $100 on Tom Brady to score the very first touchdown in the game. And the reason I would do that is because I could take that memory. That would be a ticket I would be able to talk about for the rest of my life. No doubt about it. All right. So listen, have a great, safe Super Bowl. We had some of the tags on the bottom showing how you reach John, how you reach Wes. Be safe out there and cash some tickets. I'm Second Half Chaz. You've been listening to Sports Betting Weekly. You can follow us on the Belly Up Podcast Network and the Worldwide Radio Sports Network. Always be cashing.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Let's cash some tickets.